Start, right?
Yeah. Bom dia a todos, então. Gostaria de dar boas-vindas a todos os nossos espectadores para mais um webinar global, dessa vez com convidados da Índia para falar sobre oportunidades no momento pós-pandemia, deixando então aí o convite para que todos acompanhem o webinar diretamente no LinkLei e façam por lá o networking com todos os convidados, os usuários que estão assistindo esse evento. Lembrando que este é um evento organizado pela Joint Venture BCDM Law Firm e pelo Trinaya Legal, pela Câmara de Comércio da Índia Brasil e pelo Consulado da Índia no Rio de Janeiro e também pelo LinkLei. As falas serão em inglês e os nossos convidados são Bruno Barata, sócio do BCDM e representante do Brasil no Fórum Jurídico do BRICS, Leonardo Ananda, cônsul da Índia no Rio de Janeiro, Paurush Kumar, sócio do Trinaya Legal e representante da Índia no Fórum Jurídico do BRICS, Tushar Parikh, diretor no Brasil da Tata Consultancy Services, empresa de tecnologia da Tata Group, Armajit Bedi, sócio do Trinaya Legal. I would like to say welcome to our guests. It is a pleasure for us and have a great webinar. Bruno, palavra contigo.
Okay, obrigado, Caroline. I will speak in English in order to respect the language of our event today. So good morning to everyone. Good evening for our friends who are in India. It's a special day for the relations between Brazil and India. We have a very special webinar here with my fellow partners of Trinaya Legal and also my good friend, Leonardo Ananda, president of the Chamber of Commerce in Brazil, and also with Tushar Parikh, that represents Tata Consultancy Services in Brazil. So thank you so much, all of you, for accepting the invitation. It's a very special moment for all of us, and special moment also for the BRICS scenario. So we work a lot in BRICS. Myself and Paurush, we are representatives of Brazil and India at the BRICS Legal Forum, and we know how important it is to build more bridges between the BRICS countries, and Brazil and India are a very good example of this importance that we have to build more and more relations, business and also legal ones between our countries. So I'd like to give the floor to Leonardo Ananda to give his welcome remarks and to start the presentation with Tushar Parikh. Leonardo, please.
Okay. Namaste, everyone. Good morning to the Brazilians. Good evening to the Indians. First, I would like to thank my dear friend, Dr. Bruno Barata, for the invitation to be part of this Brazil-India webinar, and greet Mrs. Carolina Francescato, Dr. Armajit Singh Bedi, Dr. Paurush Kumar, and my dear friend, Mr. Tushar Parikh from TCS. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Leonardo Ananda. As Dr. Bruno Barata said, I'm in charge for the General Consulate of India in Rio de Janeiro since 2017, so 3 years now. I'm also the president of India-Brazil Chamber of Commerce and director of the Friends of India Association in Brazil. So I think that the better way to introduce myself is saying that I'm a Brazilian with an Indian family who is passionate about India and about the India-Brazil relationship. As you may know, the diplomatic relationship between India and Brazil is only 71 years old. So the first embassy of India in Brazil was started in 1948 here in Rio de Janeiro, as Rio de Janeiro was the capital of Brazil during this time. So you can imagine that a lot of things has yet to be built in this relation. But we can say that now we are facing the best moment of this relationship. As you may know, in the beginning of this year, before this pandemic situation, we had a very important official Brazilian delegation to India, leading by our president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro. During this time, we have signed more than 15 agreements, very important agreements between India and Brazil. And during this time, our president Bolsonaro was the chief guest of the Republic Day in India. So it was a very important moment for this relationship. So we can really say that we are facing the best moment. Now we can say also that India and Brazil are much more than important trading partners. And here in Brazil, we are saying that we are nações irmãs in Portuguese. I think I can translate it in English, saying that we have like a brotherhood relation, as we have a very similar challenge and very similar goals as well. So to end my brief participation here, I would like to congratulate BCDM Law Firm and Trinaya Legal for this joint venture, the first JV between legal offices in India and Brazil. So we can highlight here that we are facing a historic and very important moment for this relationship, because as you know, without a well-consolidated legal framework, this relationship will not grow, mainly in this new normal moment after this terrible pandemic situation. So congratulations, I would like to congratulate you again for this joint venture. And of course, I wish you a lot of success in this very important endeavor. So thank you very much. Now I would like to invite my dear friend Tushar Parikh. He's head of TCS Brazil, and Tushar is member of our advisory board, IBCC, India Brazil Chamber Advisory Board. So thank you very much, Tushar, to be here with us.
Hi, boa tarde for team joining from India. Good evening, people joining from India. Good morning for people joining from Brazil. The way Leo mentioned about his part, I would say, sou da Índia, mas coração brasileiro. I will just translate for colleagues joining from India. I always say that I'm from India, but by heart, I'm almost Brazilian, living last 8 years in Brazil and more than 15 years in Latin America. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me for this session about Brazil and India opportunities post-pandemic. Thank you to Trinaya and also BCDM and also Caroline and Bruno, and especially Leonardo, our friend, inviting me for this opportunity. I am Tushar Parikh, country head of TCS in Brazil. Also, I take care of banking and financial and insurance segment in Latin America. For people who don't know much about TCS, probably not from the technology background, TCS is part of Tata Group, which is a global conglomerate started in India. And today we are like 150 years plus as a group globally. And TCS is part of the IT company providing the top 3 global services in terms of IT and information technology. It is a real honor to be here. And once again, thank you for the opportunity. If I can say a little bit my experience between Brazil and India, like when I see landscape, I see Brazil is like 2 to 2.5 times in terms of territory. And when I see India is like 6 times in terms of population and opportunities. So the way we are talking BRICS last couple of years, Brazil and India being part of BRICS countries, there are a lot of opportunities, and the opportunities are in different segments. Maybe if I can highlight few of them are of course information technology, pharmacy, agriculture, manufacturing point of view, also like mining. We were talking in one of the conversation. So there are a lot of opportunities where India, Brazil can collaborate. And most importantly, I can mention also education and innovation and technology are also part of the themes which was being discussed in the last BRICS in November. So I would say a lot of opportunities for India and Brazil to collaborate. And if I see information technology perspective, the new normal, what we are seeing last pandemic months, we are seeing that the transformation is happening across technologies. In past, it used to be that technology was supporting business, and last couple of years, we are seeing that technology is becoming core of business. And with this acceleration of digital transformation due to the way we are working or the way we are operating today, it is a must in terms of transformation, and every business is using technology as a core to transform. Like if you see, initially was agriculture, then machine economy, then technology, and then now towards digital transformation. So there is no option for any business to be away from digital in terms of talking to their consumers, in terms of providing the business lines for their products and services. So technology is becoming core. In terms of opportunities, what I see, talking more about information technology and in terms of technology and innovation, Brazil has a lot of opportunities. The supply and demand of capabilities available in the local market, what TCS and other companies from India are trying to do is bring that synergy, bring that local talent development, and especially TCS with the right framework of building local talent. We are building capabilities because supply is less in information technology in terms of the demand what we see in the market. So that will create a lot of opportunities between the business and also between innovation point of view between India and Brazil. If you see, always information technology becoming the most important growth lever for any economy, and information technology always generally grows faster than the GDP, because that's the way the technology is becoming core of any business. If I see in terms of what TCS we are doing is, we are doing business 4.0 transformation last couple of years before even pandemic really started, 2.5 years back. We are talking to our customers that how technology can be part of business, and how all business should depend and create different scenarios. We say generally business 4.0, which is like industry 4.0 on a technology point of view. We say every business needs to be agile, intelligent, automated, and on the cloud journey. So that will help every business to transform, every business to be more digital, and provide transformation for creating more business value to the consumer, being it your end customer. So I see more on technology side that way. And especially talking more about other part of India, Brazil, I see a lot of opportunities, a lot of creating jobs between both the countries. Like Brazil and India, there are a lot of resource, lot of opportunities on education, pharmacy, in terms of education, that how both the countries can together work on the education platform. We in TCS recently in Brazil also, we are trying to launch our ION platform. ION platform is like providing education to your students in schools and universities, and at the same time enable learnings through technology remotely. So there are a lot of opportunities where Brazil and India can collaborate. That is just one example, and we see much more things to happen between Brazil and India. And considering time, I will take a pause here and will be happy to answer any specific question related to information technology or regarding Brazil, India, how it can collaborate further for the best of Brazil and India. So thank you once again for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chaparik. It was a very interesting presentation, and we are really living in the time of a fourth industrial revolution. So technology is more important than ever, and we are facing an exponential growth of artificial intelligence and blockchain and other important technologies that are very new to all of us. And for sure, TCS has a very important role in this revolution. So thank you so much for presentation. And now we are going to see a little bit about the legal aspects of this post-pandemic world, how technology will also help the legal profession, how the legal profession will be able to help their clients even better. So now I'd like to invite my good friend Armajit Bedi to start his speech.
Thank
Please.
you, Bruno. I'm so happy to be here. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. In fact, I'm getting to see you all thanks to technology. And I had prepared a small presentation. If you permit me, I'd like to share the screen. It will take about 10 minutes, but I just thought I'll
I think we lost him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Paurush, I don't know if you are ready to speak, or maybe we can wait. What do you think?
I guess I can go ahead and speak.
Okay, and then we change. All right.
He's back.
Okay, so now Paurush Kumar.
Yeah. So I also have a short presentation.
Oh, all right, just okay.
Sorry, the sharing is not working. Can you just
Don't go away, please.
yes, sorry. So, Paurush, you want to continue, and I'll conclude.
Yes.
Sure. I'll just continue. So I also have a presentation. I'll try to see if the sharing works. Just let me know if it does. Is it working?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
So first of all, thank you to Bruno Barata and to Caroline for organizing this. And Bruno and I have been working very closely for the past few years on various initiatives, including the New Law Institute, the BRICS Legal Forum, the BRICS Arbitration, International Arbitration Network, also on some ODIHR systems, on the Swiss Academy of Law. So there have been multiple fields of collaboration between us, and now we are furthering that relationship between Trinaya Legal and his law firm in a full service pact between India and Brazil. And I will talk about minimizing risk and maximizing opportunities between India and Brazil. India and Brazil, again, in our 7 years of interaction through the BRICS Legal Forum, we have realized that share many of the same complications and issues, and also similar opportunities, which is with the market size. So we want trade and investment and business between the two countries to grow, but we want them to grow the right way. And we do not want disputes to take place to begin with. And instead of being a funeral service, when as lawyers we only come in when a dispute occurs, we would rather guide the businesses into creating value and increasing exchange between the two nations. So some of the business opportunities between India and China, as Leonardo had pointed out, that it has been set as a target to increase the trade to $15 billion by 2022, and the current level is $8 billion. Avocado, citrus fruits, wood from Brazil, pearl millet, sorghum, and cotton from India are already exempt from any kind of trade countermeasures. And in bioenergy, oil and natural gas, investment facilitation, mutual legal assistance in criminal matters, and cooperation in health, cybersecurity, and social security to facilitate the movement of professionals. So in the 15 agreements which were signed between the Brazilian and the Indian government, these were the key areas. And in science and technology, biotechnology, health, low carbon technology, earth sciences as specific areas of cooperation. So in India, if you're looking from an investment perspective or an OEM for manufacturing, then there are key industrial hotspots, which are industrial clusters that have developed along the major infrastructural corridors. And in North India, it could be Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon. In South, and West, it is Bangalore. In Southeast, Hyderabad, Visakhapatnam, Chennai. And in the West, Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, and Pune. So you can see the map here and the key sectors on the screen where these industry clusters cater to. For example, Delhi NCR region is FMCG and automotives, and FMCG is one of the key areas of cooperation between India and Brazil. And also in North Hyderabad, pharmacy, life sciences, and Visakhapatnam for apparel, automotive, and pharma. And I can share this presentation later on, so you can go through it at your own time and convenience. So some of the industry parks, you can see the International Tech Park in Bangalore, where it's spread over 68 acres and 4.5 million square feet of built-up area, and it hosts over 100 global and Indian IT companies. Then we have the JN Pharma City in Visakhapatnam, which is spread across 2,400 acres and has notified pharma SCZ, Special Economic Zone, of 611 acres and focuses on pharmaceutical R&D, manufacturing for APIs, one of the key areas where now Brazil is also focusing on. Then we have the Genome Valley, which is one of the leading life sciences infrastructure corridors in India. And we have the City in Chennai as well. You can see the key industrial hotspots. I will not spend too much time on this slide. The advantages of operating a business in these industry parks could be the core infrastructure, the manufacturing units, processing units, office towers, the central infrastructure of waste disposal services, conference rooms, etc. Supporting services like technical support, high-speed internet, security services, approval compliance, and others, and social infrastructure with world-class residential apartments, schools, hospital, guest houses, hotels, and malls and supermarkets, which are built in this ecosystem adjoining areas of the industry parks and within the industry parks. So in terms of investment, also for the procedure of investment approval has been simplified. Foreign Investment Facilitation Portal, FIFP, is the new single point interface for the Government of India for investors to facilitate foreign direct investment. This portal is designed to facilitate the single window clearance of applications which are through approval route. But most of the sectors in India have foreign direct investment, and it is very few sectors which require any kind of an approval. Enforcing contracts. So the National Judicial Data Grid has been introduced, which makes it possible to generate case measurement reports on the local courts. And the Commercial Codes Act 2015 has amended to reduce the jurisdiction of commercial courts from 1 crore rupees to INR 3 lakhs, which is somewhere around, it used to be $150,000, and now it is reduced to around $7,000. And arbitration, I think this is part of the business-friendly legislations that have been introduced in India. I think Mr. Amarjit will be covering it in more detail, but I just wanted to point out that there are different business-friendly legislations to facilitate investment and also trade between India and Brazil. The arbitral tribunal is required to pass an award in 12 months. However, this can be expedited to a period of 6 months, subject to the conditions. The parties have the right to conduct arbitration proceeding in a fast-track manner, in which the case award would be generated within 6 months. In case of international arbitration, the relevant court is only the relevant high court, and the provisions related to interim orders by a court, order of an arbitral tribunal, appealable orders, etc., also apply to international commercial arbitration, even if the place of arbitration is outside India. So the Commercial Courts Act also, the defendant is required to file a written statement within a period of 120 days. There is a very well-oiled case management system which has been applied to expedite the commercial disputes in India. And the scope and definition of the commercial disputes is very wide and essentially covers every commercial transaction, including general commercial contracts, shareholder agreements, joint venture agreements, intellectual property rights, contracts relating to movable and immovable property, as well as natural resources. There's also an insolvency and bankruptcy code, banking and insolvency code of 2016, which has been adopted. I won't spend too much time on this. Then we have simplified taxation laws. For example, the 17 indirect and central and state taxes have been replaced by a single indirect tax, the goods and services tax, GST, for the entire country. Also, now we have some of the most competitive corporate tax rates in the world. And the corporate income tax has been reduced from 30% to 22% for existing companies and from 25% to 15% for new manufacturing companies. Also, there is an electronic system for payment of social security contributions, and it has been introduced in enabling easier return to payments. So for companies who are looking to diversify their supply chain and open manufacturing in India, these are some of the benefits. Trading across borders, again, trade is a major focus between India and Brazil, and with the shifting supply chain right now, a lot of our clients are looking towards Brazil to start getting to some kind of a trading contract, and time and cost to export and import has been reduced through various initiatives, including the implementation of the electronic sealing of containers, upgradation of port infrastructure, and allowing electronic submission of supporting documents with digital signature, enhancement of risk-based inspections for both imports and exports, whereby only 5% of the goods are physically inspected. Advanced bill of entry has been adopted, which allows importers to start the process of customs clearance before arrival of the vessels. Equipment on different ports has been upgraded as well. So doing business in India, tips for Brazilian companies. First, the most important would definitely be do proper due diligence, get a legal, regulatory, policy, and business report on the sector you want to do business in. Secondly, something as practitioners we see very often is that do not leave compliance to your local partner. Have your own oversight on matters relating to taxation, regulatory compliance, labor, and factory laws. And service providers like us, law firms like Trinaya Legal and BCDM can do it. And also it can be facilitated through the Chamber of Commerce as well. And also get legal advice on all contracts and agreements to avoid costly disputes. Engage services on a monthly retainer basis for routine legal advice would be something that we recommend. A little expense on legal can minimize the risk and maximize the opportunities in India, which is one of the most exciting economies in the world. Leverage public database to conduct free preliminary checks on the prospective partners. For example, the GST registration, address check, public company revenue check through the Ministry of Commerce website. Some of the legal risks which are peculiar to India are an activist judiciary. We have public interest litigations, which could affect adversely some sectors. For example, we had seen it with the cancellation of coal mines and 2G licenses. Then we have changing laws and regulations. That is why you need constant legal advice to deal with them. The new insolvency code has impacted JVs and foreign investors when local partner is submitted for insolvency. Regulatory and legal compliances, you need an independent professional oversight and regulatory audit. Also with environment and land issues, since India is so vast and the different states might have different laws and regulations related to land issues and environment. So research-based market inputs for business and marketing strategy. So a company coming to India should get authentic and reliable sectoral research and market intelligence, a go-to-market strategy for India, competitor benchmarking to create the most effective positioning, statewide analysis to leverage local regulations optimally, finding reliable local partners and do their background check research, local perspective in a complex business environment, supply chain structuring, vetting of marketing strategy to ensure no local controversy. So these are some of the points that I would like to point out. And also Bruno and I have been assisting constantly Indian and Brazilian companies, and also doing the local due diligence and introducing them also to the right partners to conduct and increase business between India and Brazil. So I think that would be all from me. And I think Mr. Armajit can take over.
Paurush, just before Armajit speak, I would like just to highlight what Armajit will speak, that is about the ODR, about arbitration, how important, as you mentioned, to have a very good compliance framework in order to help the companies doing business, not only between Brazil and India, but with other countries as well. Just because it's important to highlight that in Brazil, we have the largest backlog of lawsuits in the world. We have around 80 million lawsuits in Brazil. And if I'm not wrong, I think India has the second largest number with millions, something like that, right? We had this conversation in China last year. And Armajit about that. Brazil has 80 million lawsuits nowadays. So how important is to have arbitration and mediation procedures in the contract? So this is so important. So that's what I'd like to speak about. So Armajit, please.
Thank you, Bruno. And it's good reminding me about it. Sorry, I can't make my presentation. I don't know why it's disconnecting. So I'll just speak extempore on it. But starting from the point that you started, end of the day, we are service providers and we are looking to bring in investments. Now, investments will not come in if they are embroiled in litigation or there is no outcome or a legal framework where the party which is aggrieved knows that he will not get justice in the next 10 years, 20 years. So kind of backlog which India and Brazil has, we have so much in common in that sense. And knowing that we have this kind of handicap, our judiciary, our legal system, our stakeholders are trying to come up alternative methods and means to solve the problem. And we are starting by pitching and promoting alternative dispute resolution. And today my topic is also on alternate dispute resolution, as in how an investor from Brazil who invests in India would have a advantage, and he would not be embroiled if, God forbid, he has to enter into litigation. So the concept of arbitration, conciliation, and mediation, they are formally recognized in India, and we have a very robust, as Paurush was also in his presentation, he remarked about the legislation amendments which have come in, which now directs, it is mandatory for an arbitration proceeding which has started to conclude within 1 year. Earlier, there was no time limit, so an arbitration could go on for years together. I remember when I started my practice in 1999, an arbitration was going on from 1996, and it continued till 2019. So almost about 25 years, the arbitration was going on before the parties finally settled. But under the new amendment, there is a compulsion that the case which has started now has to finish in 1 year, and there is a grace period of 6 months. So that is one which gives a lot of strength. So talking about what Leonardo was telling us, that this year the president of Brazil visited India in January, and he signed a lot of important agreements. One was the bilateral investment treaty with Brazil. So that treaty has actually recognized under Article 18 and 19 dispute resolution methods and mechanism, which is through the process of mediation, a joint committee, and then if it doesn't work out, then through a process of arbitration. That is one. So there is kind of a legal legislative framework where the countries are recognizing, and Brazil and India is now moving forward. Thereafter, India has a very robust law. I don't know, but it is recognized around the world that we have a very independent and fair legal system. The only problem is there are too many avenues of appeal or pendency of the cases, which blocks it down. So the alternate dispute resolution is the new way forward for almost all commercial disputes. In fact, under the new Commercial Disputes Act and the Commercial Courts Act, there is a requirement that if the parties are disputing, they have to first go back and they have to try to settle. Only if the settlement fails, then only you can approach the court. So there is a compulsory settlement provision provided under the Act itself. And once a party settles under the Commercial Courts Act, that is through mediation, then that mediation is not appealable. That means that's the finality of the order, and the order can be executed like a decree or an award. Now, in India, we have also the concept of recognition of foreign awards, just like in Brazil. And India's Arbitration Act is actually based on the unilateral model. We have a concept of domestic award and a foreign award. But the problem is, even though Brazil is signatory to the New York Convention, Leonardo, we would need your help here, that Brazil is not recognized as a reciprocating territory in India. So till Brazil is recognized as a reciprocating territory, a foreign award, that is an award passed in Brazil, cannot be executed or enforced in India, unlike an award which is passed, let's say, in Dubai or US, because they are countries which have an agreement with India and they are recognized as a reciprocating. So India has put a twin condition, that you have to be a signatory to the New York Convention, which Brazil is, but the second condition is that you have to be recognized in India as a reciprocating. So the only benefit that award will get if you are a signatory to New York Convention is that your award is recognized, but it cannot be enforced. So it helps that if suppose that there is a dispute between an Indian party, it's an ordinary commercial dispute between an Indian company and a Brazilian company in, let's say, Brazil, and an award is passed, then an Indian company cannot invoke the arbitration again in India on the same grounds, because you recognize the Brazilian award, but the Brazilian company cannot seek the enforcement in India. Whereas if the Brazilian company initiates the arbitration in India, then that award is recognized and then can be enforced in Indian courts and Indian system. And as Paurush was saying, that due diligence, knowing the background of the company with which you are tying up, kind of assets that the company has in India, are all helpful in mitigating the risk involved. So today we are actually trying to explain the legal framework and invite Brazilian investment in India and vice versa. We are trying to support Indian investors to go to Brazil and export, but there has to be a robust legal framework that if tomorrow there are disputes, then we have firms like Trinaya or Bruno's firm where we can kind of exchange the agreements can be settled internationally. It can have escrow accounts so that the parties are tied up in a legally binding agreements. I'm assuming that we have similar facilities in Brazil, and probably Bruno will be able to tell us better on that. But we want that there has to be more exchange. But in India, if you want to do it, then these are some of the hurdles which you will face. And that is why if a Brazilian company wants to invest, then in the legal contract, we will advise them to have a jurisdictional clause where the arbitration is executed in India, or the seat of arbitration is India or Singapore, some of the countries which are recognized currently. It is unfortunate that we have these kind of hurdles, but that's the whole idea, that we as law firms can mitigate it and forewarn our clients and investors that you need to avoid such cases. For example, there was the Daiichi Sanyo case, a very famous case where more than $3-4 billion was invested in an Indian company, and subsequently there were disputes. But thankfully, because of the arbitration clause in Singapore, the Indian Supreme Court recognized and enforced the award. So if there are disputes, then we want those disputes to be resolved ASAP, and they can be legally enforced, and there can be recoveries made in it. Now, post-pandemic, we are looking at situation, what has happened in the last 6 months, where the courts have come to a standstill. We have cases which are piling up because the courts are not physically opening. So there has been a change, and because of this COVID kind of thrust upon us, we have had the opportunity of accelerating the path of online medium. All the courts in India, thankfully, have switched over to online execution. Now we have a situation where the Supreme Court, High Court, and even district courts are dealing and hearing cases every day online. So sitting in the comfort of our house, we are attending cases in Delhi, we are attending cases in Mumbai, we are attending cases in Calcutta. because it's only a video screen that you are looking at, and you can argue cases all over the country, and there have been huge number of disposals. Similarly, in ADRs, in alternative dispute resolutions, the Niti Aayog, the Delhi International Arbitration Center, and the other arbitration centers in India have actually accepted and promoted e-arbitration. So all the arbitration proceedings which were stuck from March onwards, March of 2020, have now started holding arbitration proceedings online, mediation proceedings online. In fact, I am very proud to say that Bar Association of India, which I am a member of, and Mr. Kumar is the president, we are actually coming up with online mediation concept for the first time in India. That throughout the India, if there is any dispute anywhere between any parties, they can resolve it through a system of mediators who are recognized by the Delhi courts or Indian courts, and they can help in a confidential manner getting the resolution done and digitally sign those mediation or contracts which are binding on all the parties. So every year we have these electronic, we have started having, we are coming up with this framework, but every year all these mediation centers are settling millions of cases through online through mediation process. We want to now shift it to online mediation, and very soon the legislation has actually accepted online mediation as a way of settling the cases, recognizing those settlement agreements and recognizing those settlement decrees. And we are coming up with the mechanism for that. Maybe Tushar will be able to help us and guide us. We may take his assistance also, because we are making that application on the cloud, keeping the confidentiality and ensuring that the clients do not misuse it. And with that kind of framework, which when it is implemented, it will be a boon to foreign investment also, because a foreign client sitting, let's say in Brazil, can settle with an Indian client through this neutral method of online dispute resolution. With this, I would like to conclude that we have a lot of things in common. We have a very bright future, and we have a very strong legal framework in India. And with our synergies, we can look forward to a bigger system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Armajit. It was very interesting to learn from you about how ODR and ADR is transforming India, and in Brazil it's not different. We had since the start of the pandemic, we saw an online mediation and online arbitration booming in Brazil. So a lot of procedures are being done by internet. And just to highlight one, that there is a hearing that is happening in our law firm that my partner is doing at home, and the court is like 1,000 kilometers away or more, even more than that. So, and she's at home doing the hearing. So it's much more easier for us lawyers to work. And I have a question to all of you. I would like to start with Mr. Tushar Parikh. Speaking a little bit about how the pandemic has changed the way we work. So we are seeing that this didn't start with the pandemic by itself, but a little bit earlier with the fourth industrial revolution and technology. So these online systems of communication and as lawyers also to do hearings and court sessions, but regarding the companies as well. So how the pandemic changed the way the employees work. I'd like to Mr. Tushar Parikh to speak a little bit about that. So home office is a new reality to all of us. And is this good or bad, and how this changes the way that the company does the business? So it has any impact on that? So they have happier employees because they are working from home, close to the family. So how is our vision, Mr. Parikh, about that?
No, very interesting question, Bruno. I think, again, technology is becoming key here. When I say on TCS point of view, when we started this pandemic, March, April, we implemented a model in TCS called SBWS. It's a secure borderless workspace, which we created as a framework which allows TCS employees or workforce to work remotely from wherever they are in a secure place. At the same time, keeping welfare keeping the employees' safety, we also ensured that how customer connectivity, being it security point of view, data, being it the systems which we access, how we provide that secured network. So we in TCS implemented this SBWS mode, and roughly on an average more than 90% of our employees are working today with this SBWS workspace, which is more secured and more for the safety of our employees. But if you ask me how it was, the way paradigm have changed and we are moving towards this new normal, globally also our CEO global is also visioning 25 by 25. So it might possible, the way we are looking in future is that by 2025 there will be around 25% of the workforce in the office, or maybe an individual can work 25% of the time in the office, rest can be managed outside office in a different SBWS mode. So in technology perspective, TCS is visioning that part. Now coming back to other industries or other companies, I see that collaboration and the technology tools are very much available, and the way things are moving towards agile. So I see many companies have started implementing those tools, or they're already using it, but they're using it much more in a faster pace to leverage the productivity of the people working. When I talk to many customers like this virtually using different platforms, I have received a lot of positive feedback of productivity not being impacted, working in a different new way, the way we are working. So there is no major impact of productivity like cities, big cities like Bombay, Delhi, or Sao Paulo. If you see the time of commute for associate to move from office to home and vice versa, generally people spend 2 hours or 1.5 hours. So that time is much more productive, and that can be utilized in a different way, working from home in a collaborative way. So if I say I have not seen any negative perspective of productivity, but on other side, it is good also the way we human being always have grown to be more socially connected. And again, similarity between India and Brazil, we are always trying to be with parents, with families, with colleagues. So I think that part has to come back in a balanced way. That's why I feel that SBWS mode, or the way TCS is looking vision of 2025, having 25% of an individual to be in office, rest remote, or 25% of the workforce in the company to be productive to provide the results. I think that's the future. Many companies and many customers are thinking a digital workforce reimagination, not only just technology, but also how our workforce is enabled to be productive and collaborative with different platforms. And every company in a different form have to start imagining this and do digital workforce reimagination within their own company as a culture. So that's what from my side, Bruno, to answer your question.
Thank you. Here we have the same vision. I think the most interesting format is like a hybrid system or a balanced system, like I've mentioned. So part at home office, part at the company or at the law firm, whatever, because this is the best way for us. We had a huge challenge in the start of the pandemic because we didn't know how to deal with it, because here in Brazil, it's very common to have all the lawyers at the law firms. We didn't have so much home office, only on Fridays, like a casual work, casual Friday, but not on Monday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. So this was a big challenge, but we have adapted in a very easy way. This is I was surprised about that, and the productivity, as you mentioned, have exponentially growth. It's a very interesting thing that we have measured here, because we didn't expect that. But
and
people are.
Yeah, and also if you see, it's a human nature. Something if happens more than 6 months, it becomes a habit. Okay, so that is the new way things are getting up. So, yeah.
And how about the Paurush and Armajit? How about the pandemic changed the way you and your colleagues work at the firm?
Yeah, so I think I'll start by saying that, again, a hybrid system has also been working for us, in which we are trying to have more physical presence of the core teams, of the core laterals in the office, but rest of their own teams can be done remotely. So we were shifting our office before the pandemic. We were looking for a larger office. But now the pandemic actually made us realize that we do not need such a large space, and we need not have so many workstations. What we are rather now focusing on while shifting our office is having bigger conference rooms with better video conferencing infrastructure and technologies, instead of having more workstations, because it made us realize that workstations might not be that necessary after all. And also, I think it has forced a lot of the senior stakeholders to adapt to these technologies. For example, for a senior client of ours within India, we might have to travel specially to a different city, take a 2-3 hour flight to discuss and have a meeting with them. But now, since everyone is using these online platforms, we can just organize an online Zoom call or something like that. And also, I think in terms of cross-border projects, it has also helped us, because instead of meeting once in a few years or once every year, in the collaborative projects like the BRICS Legal Forum, we can have online meetings every few months, especially in projects which involve multiple countries. And again, it could happen before, but the more senior stakeholders who would be the decision makers might have had some apprehensions, but now we see almost everyone involved in these online meetings. So I think that has been my experience. So, Mr. Armajit?
Yeah, so as Paurush was saying, and I was earlier telling you that earlier the people were opposing. They did not want technology to be brought in because of their own varied reasons. From lawyers saying that we don't know technology, we can't afford technology, we don't have the bandwidth of technology. And within 6 months, there is a complete roundabout, a flip change in their mindset. Now, every lawyer from the traffic courts all the way up to Supreme Court has access to justice. They're easily accessible. Clients who were earlier complaining that, we want to hear physically the proceedings are sitting at the convenience of their house and watching the proceedings. So it has brought a dramatic sea change. And I am imagining, as we talk about post-pandemic, this is an opportunity that it will greatly reduce the cost for everyone, for all the stakeholders, because you don't need to continue to have physical infrastructure of such a huge scale if most of the hearings can take place online. That is one. But we are also missing the physical connect, the human interaction, the gossips, the afternoon teas when your matters are over, your hearings are over. You sit in the cafeteria and you chat and you catch up on what's happening in each other's life, or attending conferences like meeting Bruno or coming to Brazil. You're missing out on all that. But technology has its advantages, and lawyers and litigants have taken it's a boon, I feel, which will ultimately benefit the entire country and all the stakeholders.
That's right. And Paurush mentioned about the BRICS Legal Forum that we would have in St. Petersburg right now, but due to the pandemic, it's going to be everything online, including our BRICS Legal Forum. So not only the BRICS meeting of the presidents, but also the BRICS Legal Forum. So we are now starting to the organization, all the selecting the speakers and so on. So everything's going to be online for the first time. So that's the new reality. So I don't know if Leonardo has any questions or want to close our session. We are about to end, so please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bruno. I would like to answer the question as well, because from the consulate point of view, it was a big challenge at the beginning, because in the beginning of the pandemic time, a lot of Indians start to be in touch with us at the consulate, requesting the consulate to find a way for them to go back to India. And it was hard, as you may know, India was in totally lockdown. But with the support of the Indian embassy and with the support of the Consulate of India in São Paulo, we found a way to help all the Indians. And after some time, all the Indians was able to be back to their homes. But from the India-Brazil Chamber point of view, we have a lot of positive changes. As you know, we have 4 offices, and 3 in Brazil and 1 in India. And because of the pandemic, our communications between our offices increase a lot. And for her, and we have to talk with India every day, almost every day. So now all the companies, we have a lot of members in India, we have a lot of members in Brazil, and now it's easier for us to always be in touch with them, and it's very important to our goal to foment, to increase, to boost this relationship between India and Brazil. And so to finalize our webinar, I would like once again to congratulate you for the joint venture and congratulate all the speakers. We had very good presentations here today with a lot of great information. And I would like to ask Mr. Kumar to share his presentation with us. So we would like to add this presentation in our website, India Brazil Chamber website. It will be very important for our members. Another idea we have here in the India Brazil Chamber, as I told in the beginning, advisory board. Here in Brazil, we have 22 members of our advisory board. Mr. Tushar Parikh is one of our members, and we are starting this advisory board in India. So we have already 5 members. One of our members is Mr. Ratan Tata. We have other very important executives like Pratik Agarwal from Sterlite Power, Mr. Lalit from Royal Enfield, Mr. Jai Shroff from UPL. And I think it can be a good idea to have one of you at this advisory board, because it's very important for us to have, as I told you in the beginning, this legal framework helping us to improve this relationship. So I will formalize this invitation, because for us it's very important to have this legal assistance. So once again, thank you very much and congratulations. Very good event and very important event for the India-Brazil relationship. Namaste to all.
Thank you so much, Leonardo, and thank you for your support as well. The support of the India-Brazil Chamber of Commerce and the support of the consulate is very important to all of us, especially in times of pandemic, in times of important cooperation between not only companies, but also between citizens, between persons. So it's very important to cooperate now for us to cross this pandemic and get away from it. So it was not, it's the most important moment of all time to share cooperation between all the countries. We're seeing that countries are getting together to build the vaccine, to create a vaccine. So how important it is to have nations together now, and Brazil and India has this important role as well. So thank you so much for all of the work that we're doing here in Brazil and also in India. And Caroline, please, now the floor is yours to end our event. And thank you so much for your cooperation again.
Thank you. Have a good day and namaste, ciao.
Thank you.